Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. A little bit of a different format this morning. I'm at a conference and here in lovely Florida. Yes, it's pretty nice out, but what I want to talk to you about is the process of investing. And I got a lot of questions about this in the past 24 hours. They're like, okay, the election's done. We had talked about, the narrative of the beginning of the year, we stayed long and strong. Then we went a little more cautious going into the third quarter and fourth quarter going into the election. And, now is what are the changes that are going to happen now? So I want to explain the process a little bit, which is why you didn't see massive change in your portfolio yesterday while the market was riding a sugar high, if you will, from the election. Before we get started, though, this is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you see in this presentation. More disclaimer information is available at AnkerstarWealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine and mine alone. So I want to talk to you about the investing process. So as you know, we do have an investment advisory board team. So what we do, instead of just acting what's called with the narrative, which is kind of that the emotions of the market, and that's what you saw yesterday. So we had the Trump victory, which had largely been priced in by the market, not the mainstream media, but the market certainly had started to price that in. And then you get in this, what I would call a euphoria moment for, again, half the country, the other half are devastated. But you get the narrative, right? Is okay, well, now 50% of the people, and largely the investing class, largely Republican, got the results they wanted, and they got the red wave, if you will. And from there, the market screamed higher. Well, just realize it screamed higher overnight, so it didn't scream higher during the day. So by the time the markets opened, the market had already moved. So the time to buy things is not necessarily when the market's already moved, right? You have to basically really look at the situation and look at the data, not the narrative. And that's the important part. So what keeps you on data and not narrative is having a process in place. And it's one thing I probably haven't really explained about how we do this. But some of you may know we have an investment advisory board. We meet monthly. We could always meet in between if we need something to talk about or if there's a major issue out there. But we schedule these things for very specific reasons. So part of the process with the election is wait for the election results, right? So we didn't do a lot of buying in the fourth quarter, honestly. We just rode higher with the stuff we had. New money that came in largely went into a money market, MMKT. There was some buying here and there, and Nvidia was on sale there for a while, and that turned out great. Bitcoin moving higher, you can kind of buy that anywhere along this time frame. But for the models and the overall narrative for Ankerstar Wealth, we wanted to wait for the election to be over, so we see what we had on our hands, and then Mike and I are the C-suite execs. So First Trust is why I'm in Florida right now. Is First Trust intentionally hosted a conference 2 days after the election. There's 100 of us down here. We're all CEOs of advisory firms, and they bring us in, and we spend the whole day looking at data. Going back, this morning we were talking about since the 1920s, so over 100 years of data from elections and what it means, and to try to help use data to formulate our investments going into the rest of this year, as well as on into next year. So that's why I'm in Florida. They pay for it, they fly us down here, and you'll be able to unpack all this stuff. Mike is looking at a different source. There's value in diversity. He's looking at the JP Morgan stuff, and he's been poring over that they just released from their post-election thing. So to be able to really look at a different set of information. So we're both doing that all day today. I'm on a break right now. And then the Fed meeting is another piece of data that we have to price in, even though it's largely expected to just be a 25 basis point drop. It's not what the actions are taking right now. We pretty much already know that. What we don't know is what they're going to say going forward. They may not say a lot because it's so fresh after the election, but if they've had time to kind of reshape their narrative too, then they're going to project with their dot plot, if you will, if you follow that, as to what they're thinking, how the next year, quarter/year is going to go. So that's another piece of information we wanted to have before we make any moves in your portfolios. And then our investment advisory board intentionally like these other things, is scheduled for this afternoon. So we're going to meet for an hour, probably be an hour and a half, because an hour won't be enough. But to sit down and really talk through, okay, not only the election results, what's First Trust saying, what's JP Morgan saying, what is the Fed saying, and at that point we're going to then discuss some different investing ideas we have. What are we invested in that we should no longer be invested in? What are we not invested in that we should be invested in? And how do we change our weighting going forward? So all of that will be this afternoon. And then we'll do some pretty heavy lifting tomorrow to get our models updated and released. So really, on an expectation management perspective, it's really not going to be the day after the election where you just start going crazy. Largely the people that, many of us that are professional investors were up late to make sure that, we had the election results. So yesterday wasn't the trading day. That was kind of the retail market. And a lot of it's just people taking a victory lap. As people tend to do, instead of just being adults and going, okay, yep, we got the results and moving on. It's kind of an emotion-filled day in the market. Now today is much muted, right? Day two, right? So it's like back to reality of the market. Things are up, things are down. Certainly there's some repositioning that needs to be done, but you want to do it slowly and okay, I won't even try to say that word, with a procedure in place. So trust the process. Again, to look at data and not necessarily the emotions of the moment. So that's why, for those of you that reached out yesterday, a lot of folks, I said, hey, let's just take a breather on changes until we know a little bit more. That's why. That was the longer answer. So I appreciate that you reaching out. I want that all the time, every time. But there's sometimes where I can't give you a long answer because we're busy in the moment, kind of refiguring everything. So with that, what I will say is that yes, if you did not get your way in the election, all is not lost. That's why we do this every 2/4 years on different cycles. If you did get what you wanted, I will say, just because the team or person you want got elected, it doesn't mean the problems are going away. And especially since you have some of the same team that was just in charge 4 years ago, right? And it is part causal in some of the problems we have. You think like deficit and things like that. So really, mute your expectations on exactly how much the powers that be that can get done. I mean, some obvious stuff with taxes, that's the no-brainer stuff. But really, are we going to control spending? We spent a lot of time this morning talking about Reagan and Bill Clinton. So again, both sides of the aisle of really getting spending under control. And we have this deficit problem. Are we going to address that? They seem like super adults in the room, right? Compared to basically something nobody's talking about with our spending. So anyhow, a lot to unpack. But I did want to share with you what's going on. That's why we're heads down, pretty busy trying to get our brains around the right place. And again, people will disagree all the time. One thing they keep talking about here, First Trust, is principled people arguing things out get you a better result. And then data over narrative is very important. So that's what we're out here doing. Yes, I can't complain about the location, and yes, I was able to bring Irene with me, which always makes me smile when I can share a trip with her. But I wanted to kind of give you the idea of what Ankerstar Wealth is doing as we process these election results and make our decisions going forward for your money. So with that, thank you so much for listening in, and we will be back to the normal type presentation of the morning show tomorrow. You have a good one. Bye.